Today we're going to do a little bit of foraging, quite close to home, in fact this close, because what we're going to pick today is bittercress. So this plant, which is taken over as a bit of a weed in our herb patch, is called hairy bittercress. It's one of a group of similar plants. There are other species of bittercress. This one I believe is hairy bittercress. It's in the mustard or cabbage family, as you can see from the little 4-petal flowers it has. It forms a rosette of pinnate leaves and then these radiating or upright stalks with little white flowers and then the seed pods on them. And these seed pods, when they're fully ripe, I'm not sure we'll be able to capture this, they pop. They split open and catapult the seeds a short distance. The seeds, when they're first released, are ever so slightly sticky, and so any small animal or bird coming through here and disturbing the seed pods pop open, the seeds fly out and stick to the fur or skin or feathers of the animal that's passing just for a little while. They're just minutely sticky, and then when they dry out they fall off in a different location. So that's how this plant gets about. It's a really vigorous weed. I mean, apart from the fact that these seed pods will pop naturally anyway, and then they will catapult the seeds some short distance here, and it'll grow another plant here. Once you have this in the garden, you're never going to be rid of it, but actually it does very little harm and it's edible. You'll also find this on wood edges, in especially damp meadows and damp wood edges out in the wild, and other species of bittercress as well. Anyway, since we've got this here, we're going to eat some of this today. So I'm just going to pick some of the nice, fresher stems. The flowers, the seed pods, the whole plant is edible. We'll pick the nicer bits, get those indoors, and see what we can do with them. So first thing that we'll do is give these a really good rinse. Mainly because this is such a low growing plant, and if it had been raining, soil does get splashed up onto the leaves and you can end up with a kind of gritty texture. The plant itself is actually really remarkably clean because it's such a fast growing plant. It hasn't been hanging around for a long time to accumulate a lot of dirt. Anyway, we'll give it a nice rinse. We'll let that stand for a bit just to loosen the dirt. Then I'll give it another rinse to wash off anything that's been loosened by being moistened. Alright, so here is our hairy bittercress. Still rather moist. Let's have a close look at this plant. Now we've got it under slightly more controlled conditions. So yeah, you can see the stalk, and the stalk is sometimes a bit tough, although here, not too bad. I'm going to taste a bit. Now to me that just tastes exactly like ordinary cress that you buy in the supermarket or grow from seed. The name bittercress I think is a little bit misleading. It may be that though that this plant has a bitter flavour because there are bitter chemicals produced by some plants that some people, due to genetic factors, can't taste. That could be happening here. But to me, that actually just tastes like cress. And I'm going to use it exactly like cress. So anyway, just to reiterate the description. So we've got this, here's a very typical looking stalk. They're one of the nicer ones. This leaf arrangement is what we call pinnate. So there's a stalk and lots of little paired leaflets along the side. I think this is called oddly pinnate because there's a terminal leaflet on there. So there's an odd number of leaflets on the stalk. I could be wrong about that though. The little flowers, beautiful, aren't they? So I probably will just pick off mostly leaves and the little seed pods as well. So that top part of the plant there, perhaps a little bit more peppery. And actually that part does taste a little bit bitter. So I think we'll focus on the leaves. Yeah, actually there's quite a bitterness to the flowers and seed pods. So perhaps that's where the name comes from. But yeah, let's just taste one of these leaves though. Yeah, not nearly so bitter. Okay, well, I know what we're doing then. We're going to focus on the leaves. And I'm going to use it in exactly the same way that cress is commonly used. I'm going to make an egg and cress sandwich, but egg and bittercress. So we'll just pick some of these lovely leaves. I was going to say don't put the stalks in the compost because it'll just spread it around the garden, but that battle is already lost. So it doesn't really matter. If you've got this in your garden, you've got a lot of it in your garden. That's just the way it goes. It's not such a bad weed. It doesn't tend to overwhelm other plants. You can pull it out, although the action of pulling it out once it's got flowers on it does tend to distribute the seeds, so you can't win. But I think it's a lovely little plant anyway. It's a nice, jolly little flower. It's not a bad thing to have around. I'm sure the bees and other pollinators enjoy these little flowers. A profusion of nectar there. So not a bad thing really. But yeah, I'm just going to have the leaves today because I think, as I say, the whole plant is edible. But from just having a little taste of things here, I'm finding that the seed pods and flowers are the bitter part. Right, there we go. A little bit fiddly to prepare, but hopefully worth it. So earlier I hard boiled an egg for 11 minutes and then plunged it into cold water to stop it getting that greyish film on the yolk that you sometimes get. So one hard boiled egg that I have peeled just now. Even out there woofing at birds, it's all good. So yeah, that looks about right. And I'm just going to chop this fairly finely. Egg and cress used to be probably a more popular sandwich filling than it is these days, but I still really like it. Second place, I think, to egg and tomato, which was the sandwiches we always used to take to the beach. Same with the cress. I'm just going to chop that up. And chopping this is going to release some of the flavours. So this will bring out the peppery flavour, peppery sort of mustard-like flavour of the cress. I'll just turn the board and go through the other way. So just in case we've missed any stalks, I can see there are a few in there. Get that nice and finely chopped. Okay. And then all of that, I'm going to mix it up in a jug because that just happened to be the first thing that came to hand. My cress. I'll have a bit of mayonnaise. Just shot bought. Light mayonnaise. Let's just see how that mixes up. Might need a bit more mayo. Now I would say that's a little bit more cress heavy than your typical egg and cress sandwich, but I do want to taste it. We'll have a tiny bit more mayo. And I think I'm not going to butter the bread because I don't tend to butter it when there's a mayonnaise-y filling going into it. That's good. I think we will just have a little pinch of chili flakes, 2 little pinches of chili flakes, tiny pinch of salt, a little grind of black pepper. Right, let's get some bread. 2 slices of nice nutty seedy bread, and there should be just enough filling here for 1 round of sandwiches. Yeah, that is quite a lot more cress, I think, than you'd normally get in an egg and cress sandwich if you bought it in a petrol station. If you're brave enough to do that. But, like I say, I really do want to taste the cress here. Now the incredibly important question about whether we cut it diagonally or straight across or straight up like that, or just a little bit on the bias like I have done in the past to annoy people. What are we going to do today? I call that the underpants cut. So there we go, egg and bittercress sandwich. Time for a taste. Oh, it's good. It's got a more complex flavour than regular cress grown straight from seed. Yeah, it's got a more complex flavour. than your regular cress. And I think that's because the plant is obviously an older plant. When you buy or grow cress normally, you're eating seedlings. This is made from the leaves of a mature plant. So yeah, the complexity in here, it's got your mustard and cress flavour, but it's also got a little bit of rocket or something like that maybe. That was our shortest foraging distance possible to get bittercress from the garden and make egg and bittercress sandwiches. I hope that's been interesting. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.